So our 3 racial traits to go off of are...
Oh boy, this is quite a one. So this first one, I don't know what decadent mastery is, so let's look that up.
Decadent mastery is from the Gith
that's
subrace, the Gith Yankee.
Okay.
We'll look that up to describe what that is. Second one is secondary arms.
That's from the new Hadozi that are coming out, and that's going to be a pretty crazy mechanic if they print it the way that the UA was.
And then the third one was just a damage resistance, which we can choose after we learn what this Gith ability is.
That one's easy.
So decadent mastery is you learn 1 language of your choice, and you're proficient with 1 skill or tool of your choice.
Okay.
That's not very flavorful, but maybe we should choose 1 more racial trait. Emissaries of the Sea.
Ooh, yes, that'll be the Triton. It's got to be, right?
I think so. Okay, so there's our 4.
Is that their spell casting ability, or is it like the talk to fish thing?
Triton Emissaria. Okay, Emissary of the Sea is aquatic beasts have an extraordinary affinity with your people. So other like fish and stuff love the Tritons, or in our case, whatever race we develop. You can communicate simple ideas with beasts that can breathe water. They can understand the meaning of your words, though you have no special ability to understand them in return. So you're basically just commanding a school of fish or a creature. Yeah. Aquaman.
Yeah, so fish speak, and then the decadent mastery was you get
skill language, tool.
And a tool. Okay.
And then 4 arms. So I'm kind of picturing like the Hindi goddess Kali. She's got like 4 sets of arms or 6 arms.
I'll take your word for it. I'm not sure, but I was picturing an octopus or a lobster or something like that.
That could work too. Shiva, yeah, maybe Kali and Shiva, almost like a Devi, a semi-deity, where they're commanding these fish creatures, these other fish races or aquatic races, because they're like seen as the gods of the ocean. Cool.
You know what's coming to mind for me is, so in Warcraft and Hearthstone and that, there's a race called the Naga, which are an underwater race, which obviously there's already a Naga monster in D&D. So different names. We'll call them the Nagi. I don't know. But they often have different looks based on, like, some of them have like a centaur build, but they're like lobster based instead of horse. So they've got like all these legs, kind of like a drider. And then most of them have that like typical like merfolk look, but they've got like, you know, the fish fins on their heads and gills. But some of them also have multi-arms, which goes with this. So I'm picturing that as well.
I like this. Ronnie, the Witch Queen of Salmon. It's a river-based species.
Yeah. So to clarify, is that an actual thing from because we were looking at the different mythology stuff? Is that a real thing, or is that like a character idea, Ronnie, the Witch Queen of Salmon? Because that sounds funny, but it might be a real thing. I don't want to be disrespectful. Ronnie's from Elden Ring. Gotcha. I haven't played, but
this does bring up a good point, though, that when you play aquatic adventures in D&D, don't Google her. When you play aquatic adventures in D&D, it's often in a sea, and no one ever really plays aquatic adventures in like a bog or a lake or a river, especially because rivers are so transient. Like you step into a river, but is it the same river and are you the same person? River played. Yeah, there's never really any like river races. I kind of like this idea because also shrimp can be like freshwater, right?
Yeah.
So maybe it's like this very intelligent, sentient shrimp race, multiple appendages, and they are kind of the commanding race of the other creatures around them.
And they make a lot of bugs. And so they've got the decadent mastery, so they got tools and stuff. Maybe they do woodworking or other things because they build
river stones. They can make tools out of those.
Yeah, maybe they're very tool based, and that's how they thrive in the rivers. And maybe they build a lot of bridges. So maybe their homes have like a lot of bridges going from like trees to trees, or they have things under the water that are like traps. Maybe they're trappers, shrimp trappers. You know,
instead of being trapped themselves, they're the trappers.
Yeah, they put traps out above ground like those ones we do for shrimp. That's like a cage.
But it's for people. I mean, I played RuneScape. I've caught shrimp in RuneScape before. Use a cage.
Yeah, exactly.
I do like the idea though of maybe they have connections with the other sentient creatures around them. So like they're building these bridges across trees where they live, but they also engage in trading with other sentient creatures. But they're like the gods of the rivers.
Yeah, Indestructible Boys jiving with our getting away from the ocean, like we're swamp people. Balcanian says maybe it could also have some sort of relationship to the water striders, the dragonfly type things we did earlier.
Like they're kind of symbiotic.
Or maybe they're enemies. Yeah.
Okay, so shrimps are... Isn't there something about like shrimps being like eternal? Like they can't really die because they regenerate themselves. Like their cells kind of regenerate.
Is that a thing?
They're anti-aging, right?
Or is that like a lobster thing? I don't know.
Shrimp live forever. Googling this. maybe it's lobster. I can't quite remember.
I want to say it's lobsters that do something like that.
I don't know, but there's some sort of creature like that. But if these dragonfly blood-sucking creatures that we did earlier in our stream, if they feed off of these shrimp that regenerate themselves, and maybe there's some mystical magic being deities of their bog or river, they can regenerate themselves. And then in return, these other creatures, these dragonfly bloodsuckers, I don't know, do something for them.
Oh, I was picturing they hunt them because they want to drink the blood, their eternal blood.
Okay.
That's a gag on what Indestructible said. Agree, Google image may be not safe for work. There is a shocking lack of large bodies of water in D&D games. Doesn't stop me from taking control of water, though. Yeah, absolutely. Water mills. Oh, they build water mills, and maybe that powers a lot of their inventions. They're like
bet
the gnomes of the river,
or like the beavers of the river.
Yeah.
They shape the land around them, and maybe that's why they're seen as deities, is because they're the ones who are changing the rivers. They can control if a colony of fish survive or not, because they can send the river toward them or away from them. So if you anger these creatures, as like a fish creature, you're in danger.
Yeah, and then they've got the multi-arms, so maybe they build like little stone axes, and they've got like hold 4 of them at once, and so they just like machine gun like at trees. The beavers chew them down, but maybe they're just like.
I like it.
Yeah, shape water is awesome. Yeah, I really like water spells in general. I once listened to a podcast that was some D&D people had another D&D player who was a marine biologist, and they did like 8 hours of just talking about oceans and interesting things.
Mm-hmm.
And that really got me into aquatic love.
I think it'd be really cool to play like a westward expansion campaign, like Lewis and Clark, and you discover all of these new types of creatures that you've never experienced before, but you wouldn't really expect to see like a sentient shrimp race.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, thank you for the super chat, Dougal McDougs. I'd never thought to use this method for homebrewing lineages. Definitely will use from it. Yeah, we haven't done this before yet. That we were kind of taking a gamble on it, but this is super fun.
Yeah, and if you want, we can release this Excel document that we made. That just lists all of the racial features or racial traits. We don't go into detail what they are. You'd have to Google that, but we can send this out as well so that you guys can, I don't know, maybe have some fun homebrewing as well.
Yeah. Philip says that sounds like some deep philosophy. Shrimp are forever. Yeah. As long as the lobster has room to molt and enough food, they can live forever and grow massive. So yeah, I guess it is lobster.
It is lobster. Yeah.
Now I want to play a river-based campaign. Yeah, right? Like rivers could be a lot of fun. Don't think about the deep, dark seafloor and lobster terrastre. Oh.
Have you seen those creatures? Someone like a marine biologist will drop a dead fish or whatever to the bottom of the ocean, and then out of the sand comes like all these creatures like run up to it, and
I've seen those
isopods and such eating those creatures.
I've been up at 3 a.m. watching YouTube videos of like a dead eel on the bottom of the Mariana Trench, and like a light on, you see all these things just like swarm it.
Yeah, like you're concerned about piranhas in water. I mean, we're not, but maybe in D&D you are. But you never think about what's hiding under the rocks that might come and just nibble your feet.
Yeah, don't like that. Nope.